Hey, what's up, ladies? Autoimmune hubby here, Brian, and I want to give you some insight on what's been happening the last couple weeks. I'm in crutches. 2 weeks ago, I had this surgery. I don't know if you can see it. It's I totally re-ruptured my Achilles tendon, and I wanted to share this with you because a lot of you on the calls that I have don't want to live sick and stuck anymore. And I was like, man, over the last 2 weeks, because I've just literally been sitting around doing nothing, unable to help out my family. Nancy had to take out the garbage the other day for the first time ever. That's my job. And I couldn't do my job because I didn't take care of myself. I wanted to get on here and really share, you know, what I see just sitting here doing nothing for the last 2 weeks. Because 3 weeks ago, I went and I did something reckless. I played volleyball, and I hadn't played for like 2 years. So my body wasn't ready. I played well, but I tore my Achilles tendon, which is literally like, it's 3 months until I can walk again. Like, this is a big deal. And for some of you, you've been unwell, sick for quite a long time, and for me, it's like, how can I provide value here? What's a perspective that can maybe help you? Well, when you're like this, and you can't take out the garbage, and you can't drive the kids to karate and to school, and you can't do all the things, you start to feel useless. You start to feel like you're not really worth a damn. And obviously that's not true, but like in a few months, I'm going to be walking again, and I'm going to have the choice to be lazy, to actually address the truth of this weakness, or to just kind of like, pretend like I'm strong when I'm really not, right? Because this only tore because I was weak and I didn't do the exercises, I didn't do the work to make it as strong as possible in that moment so that it wouldn't snap. A lot of you have been unwell for many, many years. And I want to share with you the message of, hey, you're not alone. That's number one. Like, there's a lot of women out there, there's a lot of people that I speak with that, are going through a very similar time as you, right? And the good news is, um, you still have a chance. If you can watch this video and still feel something and still like know deep down that your body can heal, with some guidance, and your body and your mind and your spirit is just like leading you here, then there's a chance. Because most women, there's a couple reasons, and I'm gonna make this quick. Actually, I'm gonna sit in a chair because it's hurting my hips a little bit. But yeah, um, most women, they uh, they don't they don't invest in themselves because of a few things, and I don't fault them because they've been taught a certain way. Um, First thing that comes to mind is they don't really put themselves first. They don't value themselves. And it sounds crazy to say this, but for a lot of these women, they literally been taught that they don't matter. And that's a big deal. Because if you're watching and you actually think this, you do matter. When I was a child, I was told that I was useless many, many times. And it's not just like from my parents. We're talking like all the aunts and uncles, like we're talking everyone, because that was just part of our culture. Because the Asian people, for whatever reason, you know, in their fucked up minds, they think that it's better to just make sure the children don't think that they're the shit. So you press them down, make them feel like shit, so that like they just have no self-esteem growing up. And I've seen this time and time again. Even watching an episode of The Biggest Loser, like one of the girls on there was like an Asian girl, and she told that story of how exactly what I shared, and it's just very common. So anyway, going back to not thinking that you're worth anything, that's actually a normal practice, no matter if you're Asian or not, right? Like I met a lady, Kim. She told me that her mom just called her a doormat all the time, like just told her, like said really negative things, and just made her feel terrible, where she just pretended like things were okay and her feelings weren't hurt when they really were, suppression, right? And to take you on a little bit of a side note, they didn't know any better, okay? They didn't know any better, because when I look at my aunts and those people that did that to me or said those things to me, they probably got the same treatment, and it was passed down for generations after generations. Okay, so it's totally normal. The other thing that is related is women are afraid to invest in themselves, especially when they've already spent so much money on things that haven't worked. Like supplements, functional medicine doctors, massage therapy, acupuncture, naturopathy. Um, what else? I don't know, like paying for shockwave therapy. There's like infusions here. Like there's so many things, right? There's literally a million things or more that you could try. Restricted diets. There's like advice from friends, and there's so many people. And the problem with those things, and I'm sure they're well-intentioned people, they're nice people, but the problem with those things is they don't address the root of what causes your issues. They don't address what's actually causing your problems. And if you don't see that, which you wouldn't see, because if you actually could see and you knew exactly what to do, you'd be well by now. So um yeah, that's the second thing. It's really hard for people to get their minds and everything around investing in themselves, because it's like, well, nothing has worked already. So like why would this new thing work? You know, and to be perfectly honest with you, it's a perfectly valid concern, because if nothing has worked for you in the past, why would anything work for you in the future? Right? So that actually makes sense. The problem with that though is it keeps somebody on the same path getting the same results. And if you're sick, you're going to continue to be sick and even more sick. And then like it actually costs you way more money, because so many women lose their jobs or their capabilities because they can't work because they don't feel well. So one lady, she was a part-time waitress, right? One of our clients, and she told me that she used to make $15,000 a year. And for the most part, $15,000 a year is not like a lot of money. It's not like $1 million. But I shared with her, I was like, yo, the next 10 years, that's like, if you can't work because you're getting sick, that's $150,000 that you've lost, you and your family has lost, and that's just money. That's not even like the day-to-day human interactions that people need, right? Like going to work, feeling important, feeling like you're providing value somewhere. And then to top it all off, the same lady, she told me, actually, I call her a girl because she's younger than me. Um, she told me that every time, because they don't have children, okay, but every time her husband comes home, she feels terrible, because she's been in so much pain. She wasn't able to help out around the house. Not only that, she was irritable and grumpy when he did come home, which triggered him. So ultimately, she just felt like a burden, which brings me to me sitting here with this freaking stupid thing on my leg, and I can't even shower properly. Yes, I've showered, okay? But I can't even shower properly because my whole setup is like I have to sit in an elderly chair that doesn't slip. It's full of rubber. I had to buy this freaking like plastic bag thing to cover this because I can't afford to get my incision wet. I couldn't work out because I can't sweat. It's like this has been tough, and it's Christmas time. So I haven't been able to go outside because it's slippery outside because there's like snow and ice outside. So it's like I did this to myself. I see that. Nancy tells me all the time, it's like you did this because you didn't prepare your body. You didn't take responsibility for this, and therefore you got yourself into this mess, and now the whole family is paying for it. So if you feel like that, even just a little bit, but you've been pretending that it doesn't exist, because I've spoken with many women before, they're like, yeah, I feel like a burden, but like I can't really do anything about it. Well, that's the most dangerous thing that you can think, because if you think that you can't do anything about it, guess what you'll actually do? Nothing. You know, your children depend on you. If you're not showing up for your children, then who's going to help them? Who's going to be that example for them? What are they going to turn out to be if they see their mom being this way, when they're younger? What do you think they'll learn? Who do you think they're around the most? Right? If you don't think that you can fix something when you really can, what do you think they're going to pick up from you? What are the consequences of that? Have you ever thought about those things? Because for me, I could easily like blame it on the world and blame it on everything just outside of me. It's like, I can't do anything about it. It's weak. But then I would be lying to myself. So if you're watching, and if any of this got to you, ask yourself, do you really want to spend the next year, 2 years, 5 years feeling the way that you do right now? Do you want that? And if not, why not? Ask yourself that right now. Do you want to feel this way even for the next week? Because if you don't do anything in 2 days, you're not going to do anything in 2 weeks. You're not going to do anything in 2 months, which means in 2 years, 2 decades, if you're still alive, nothing's going to change. So, I feel like you being this way can be a blessing or a curse. Okay? And so I encourage you to just look deep within. A lot of you are in your head a lot. I have a lot of these conversations with these women. So what I encourage you to do is put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. Close your eyes. Breathe. Literally take a minute to breathe and just take this message in, because I'm fucking pissed that this happened, right? I can even go as far as saying like this is not my fault, right? But that doesn't help me. Doesn't help my family, right? But even if it's not your fault, like let's say you had some bad things done to you and trauma and all these things, which is very similar to a lot of people, it's not your fault. It is not your fault. You didn't ask to have those things done. You didn't ask to be yelled at in a certain way. You didn't ask to be talked to in a certain way. You didn't ask to be treated in a certain way. But one thing's for sure, if you have children and people that depend on you, whose responsibility is it to actually do something that puts you in the best possible position to lead them and guide them? Those people that depend on you, your children, whose responsibility is it to help guide them to a better place than you are? Who? And that's it. That's all I want to say today. Just going to post this video up. I'm Brian, the Autoimmune Hubby, and you probably didn't expect that, but I'm going to hobble my way to go turn off this camera And you probably don't see that many videos like this. But yeah, you guys take care.